Yep.
Okay, so it's no secret that within the United States, we have a huge shortage of organs. The United Network for Organ Sharing claims that as of this month, we have over 116,000 people on the organ waiting list. So these are people that are waiting for organs, not the donors. Reported data from the US Department of Health and Human Services also added that 20 people every day die from this list just because they're waiting for organs and their bodies failed. And every 10 minutes, a person is added to this list. These staggering facts display the urgency that we need to display to this issue to finding a solution to our organ shortage, which is why I'm here today to discuss my claim that allowing prisoners to become organ donors will alleviate the shortage of organs in the United States. So I'm going to share 3 main points to support my claim. First, I'm going to talk about why there's a shortage. Then I'm going to talk about the prisoners that have been denied access. And then lastly, I'm going to explain a little bit about why they've been denied access to donate. So first, we're going to talk about why there's a shortage of organs in the first place. So there are many reasons why, because it's a personal decision to become an organ donor, but one of the biggest reasons I found when I was doing research was the lack of emphasis that's placed on changing the public's perception of the medical field regarding organ donation. So a quote I found from Professor Quick from the University of Illinois really kind of sums up all the statistics I'm about to throw at you. He stated, through his study that he did with organ donors and non-organ donors, he said there are a lot of people who subscribe to the belief that if a doctor knows you're a registered donor, they would not do everything they can do to save your life. So through his study, almost everybody agreed that if their next of kin was to die, they wouldn't like sign away their organs because of their mistrust of the medical profession. And then in 2002, Professor James, who's a professor of medicine at Dartmouth, he studied the controversy around brain death. So that's when your body's still alive, but you can't function, your brain is dead. The participants in his study followed up what Professor Quick's study did as well. They said also that they wouldn't donate organs due to the general mistrust of the medical profession. And mistrust can come from a multitude of ways. It can be personal. So if you've seen somebody in your family on their last couple of days and then the medical treatment they got wasn't what you would have wished they would have gotten, that would be a personal mistrust. And then there's also mistrust just about the general information that's out there regarding organ donation. From both of these studies, more than half of the people admitted to getting their information regarding organ donation from TV. So it makes sense that researchers are concerned with how fictional medical dramas can influence our attitudes towards medical personnel regarding organ donation. So we've talked about the shortage and a couple of the reasons. So now I'm going to go over the over 2 million population pool that we're not accessing in regarding to donating organs. So simply put, prisoners in the United States are denied access to donate their organs. All requests by prisoners to donate either full organs, so a full liver or part organs, like tissue donation, were denied before 2013. So there's no actual nationwide legal law for this. It's just up to the discretion of the Federal Prison Council. There's hundreds of stories on prisoners on death row wanting to donate their organs, whether it's to family members or strangers, and almost every single one, unless it's an extreme case that caught a lot of media attention, all of them were denied. The reason I point out it's such a large population is because currently there's over 2.2 million prisoners in the US, and if only 1% of them donated either full or partial parts of their organs, 30,000 people would be taken off that list. So it's a huge chunk. The numbers are substantial enough to call it an untapped resource. So we went over the shortage and now the issues of people not being able to donate, and now we're going to talk a little bit about the laws or lack thereof. So there's no actual law, as I said before, and it's up to the discretion. So the Federal Bureau of Prisons, the only law they have forbids federal inmates to donate to a stranger. So they play around with that law. Although they have it, they still allowed a couple people to donate to their next of kin. But it's really up to their discretion. And if you try to look up the reasoning why, there isn't one, because they don't have to give one. The reasoning they put is when you're put in prison, the whole point of prison is to take away your freedoms. So they think that the freedom to donate their organs is one that they're allowed to take away. So because of their undisclosed reasoning, the Bureau have denied all, except very, very few special circumstances, access to donate their organs. So I've given you statistics and facts and expert testimonials to why I believe allowing prisoners to donate would alleviate the shortage. And we discussed why there's a shortage, some of the issues, and then the fact that there is no actual nationwide law about it. But this is just information, and we've had this information for many years, but no action has been taken. And as a result, thousands of people have died. I hope I provided you with all the initial information that's needed to begin the discussion towards a possible solution of saving lives. Thank you.
Okay, the proposition is very clear, so you're solid there. There is a preview of what the supporting structure is going to be, although the supporting structure is not, they're not consisting of declarative sentences to begin with. They start with basically just topics. And in fact, the first one isn't even a topic, it's a question. So remember, your argument should be the answer to the question. And I do think that in the body of the argument, you give an answer to the question, but that should be the structural post that we hang the information on. The controversy on this, I think you do a good job suggesting that this is important at the beginning based on the statistics that you have in the introduction, indicating how many people are waiting, how many people die every day, how many people get added to the list on a regular basis. That's pretty good. Now, the prison population point on the second point, where you mentioned there are 2 million people who are potential donors that they're not allowed to donate. Like you said, there seems to be some some inconsistency on what the rules are. There aren't rules, it's just a decision. By the way, when you say the Federal Prison Bureau, I assume that that means that those people who are incarcerated in federal prisons. That does not necessarily apply to state prisons, and if there are different rules for the state prisons, that should be something that could be explored as well. You did have an interesting way of looking at the statistic, suggesting that if just 1% of them donated, that would be 30,000 people taken care of. I think that that's probably true, but I can also see how this is going to be put into a context, because 2 million, that would require, that's 1% of that entire 2 million. Well, if we just did the same analysis, if 1% of the 340 million people who aren't in prison donated, we'd have no problem either. And so the question then becomes, how likely is it that we're going to get to that threshold? And I think that's where you maybe have a little bit of an issue, because the evidence on possible donations comes, it's very apocryphal and anecdotal. You say that there are hundreds of cases of people who've wanted to donate, but I don't really get a source citation on that. There are these stories that go on about this. Death row, for example, is, people must think that there are millions of people sitting on death row, and there aren't. There are, a few thousand, a very small number, maybe 6,000 nationwide. So we got the 1% on that, and you're talking about 60 people. So that doesn't seem like it's very likely to solve a huge number of problems there. Let's see. I thought I liked the information that you presented on the first point concerning why people don't donate. Like I said, I think you did as good a job as you could with the information that you had on the second point, suggesting that it would be significant. And I think 30,000 is a significant number of people that could be benefited from this. But like I said, there's also a presupposition that we would get that many donations. And I think you need to have some stronger evidence on that particular point. The third point, like I said, it seems like it's a little bit thin there in terms of content. You do a nice job speaking to the audience for the most part. I do think you're rushing a little bit. Okay, thank you.